titillate the juices. You know what? Woo! Right now. Woo! Woo!
Dr. Hughes invites followers. Oh, let's see if they increase now. Me too. Yeah, wow. Dr. Hughes.
Mock-ass mock.
He's a great podcaster.
Trick-ass mock.
Acknowledge me.
We coming for you, nigga. Fat! Yeah, Dr. Hughes, here we go. Keep plugging yourself, that's cool.
First up, a man whose looks will serve your inner needs and desires.
Dr. Hughes.
That's right. We're back. Yep. Took last night off. Can you hear me, everybody? Let me know in the chat. Shout out to everybody. Dr. Huge is back. Rocking some NBA gear, right? Celtics are my team. I just go by whatever's closest to me my whole life. Patriots too, right? The GOAT over my shoulder. The other GOAT team over my other shoulder. TB12. I mean, do we have to debate that anymore? I think not. Anyway, go pick up my album. All that cool music you get to hear before my shows is me, of course. Things I've written electronically. Go pick that up. Go to the Dr. Huge store. These are ways you can support, right? Jump in the chat. Share this. Retweet this. Put this out to more. I'm going to educate all the LeBron fans out there, because apparently they need to be educated on the subject of basketball. They think, and many of them are casuals, which is crazy to me that you would defend these characters, as I call them these days. I don't call them athletes, these characters. You're going to defend them and what they're doing and how they're tearing down the game I grew up loving, the first one. Football took over, you know, because it's more entertaining. They know what they're doing, but then they're starting to ruin it as well. They're opening the game up a little too much. You know, of course, everybody's going to point to the Super Bowl and things, but most of the games, you know, 5 wide, it's all a bunch of chucking the ball. And just like basketball, 3-point shots. People want to blame Steph Curry for the destruction of basketball, not Dr. Huge. I don't blame him at all. He's a great shooter. He's an all-time shooter, right? I'm not just going to say, oh, my generation was the best. The stuff I grew up watching, those guys were the best. That's crazy. Especially in this day and age of the internet, you're going to have, you're going to think that this is all brand new. Remember Anthony Edwards was the GOAT, Michael Jordan, last season? That talk started happening. It just sounds insane. You people are insane. I understand many of you are kids, have the minds of children, but come on, guys. Slow your roll when it comes to everything. Pat Mahomes ain't better than Tom Brady. All right, he's awfully good. I'm not going to say he's not. Well, he's going to end up in the top 5, probably top 3, maybe even number 2 to Brady when it's all said and done. But come on, even if you want to think head to head, Tom Brady beat him on the Patriots and the Bucs. So, I mean, can we just be honest, right? My team's the Celtics, and I'm going to tell you how the NBA is the shits tonight. And they just won the championship. Shout out to you, Philly Sports Pride. A little sports talk, a little change up. I'm going to talk wrestling maybe towards the end if we can't get this LeBron James stuff settled first, because I have had enough is enough. 20 plus years of listening to kids tell me that I'm wrong about a subject that I'm an expert about. Get out of my life. And to think that anybody can really be an expert on any of these subjects that I talk about, pro wrestling, basketball, etc. You know, that's not how this works, okay? Basketball, for example, is not rocket science. Charles Barkley said this one night on that TNT show. One of the greatest of all the pro sports announcing shows, whatever you want to call them, is that with Charles Barkley, Shaq, Kenny, all the bald guys, and of course, Eddie. God, how would I forget him? But anyway, Charles Barkley said, like, he just kicks his feet up one night because they're talking basketball and this and that. And he's like, this isn't rocket science, okay? It's basketball. It's really not that hard to figure out. Okay. So that's why I'm not going to bring up stats tonight. I'm not going to. Stats are also for losers. Another famous Bill Belichick quote, one of the greatest coaches of all time, if not the greatest. And that's because you can make the numbers look however you want to support your side. At the end of the day, they get their VORPs and they got their this and that, all these different, analytics. Go watch it on something else. We're not doing that here tonight. We're going to use common sense, reason. Oh, I'm counting now. Logic. What else are we going to use? We're going to put on your thinking caps, everybody. We're going to go deep into why LeBron James is basically like an industry plant. He's good. I'm not going to take that away from him either. Listen, he's not bad. I'm not going to tell you LeBron James, oh, he stinks and he sucks and he's not good. He's awfully good. He's built to be the perfect basketball player. He's tall, he's fast, strong, all that stuff. But did he put the effort into his game like Michael Jeffrey Jordan back here? No. Did he put the effort in like Larry Joe Bird? Irvin Magic Johnson? I think not. And I'm sure a lot of you out there know that is not the case as well. There's a lot of funny business into constructing this image of a LeBron James so that everybody can go buy the sneakers and the NBA can stay somewhat relevant. And it's been a downward spiral. Now, at the beginning of his career, I was backing LeBron James. I didn't have a problem with him, I was like, yeah, cool. Like Jordan just retired. I was young enough to not recognize that brands were being changed up, and they're like the WWE. They're like, you're the next, you're our new face of the company, right? And then LeBron James took it on, right? We all witnessed. We were witnesses. He called himself King James. He's got the Chosen One tattooed on him. And I'm still like, okay, let's see what this kid can do. Puts on basketball clinics here and there. Now, was he like highly skilled then or now? Not really. He really doesn't have a bag. He kind of just offensive fouls his way to the basket, and he brutes his way in, and he gets to get away with a lot more than the average person. People would say this about Jordan as well, but I've never seen it to this extent that we've gone into crazy. He can set illegal picks. There should be compilations of all this. Illegal picks. What else does he do? The flopping. He runs over everybody, and then of course the foul is on them because he won't get called for an offensive foul. If he does, he'll go insane. But yeah, at the beginning of the career, I'm like, yeah, I'm cool with this. And then you start going up against the Celtics, right? Which you're like, oh, well, yeah. Boston's racist and they don't like any, all this stuff, which is kind of old now, especially since if you've noticed, we're a sanctuary city and we're just taking everybody, right? Super racist, right? So LeBron James is playing against the Boston Celtics. I want to say, was it the 2008 run? Could have been that run. I can't remember. 2009, 10, around there. Phantom elbow. Remember that? Couldn't shoot the free throws. Couldn't be even clutch. And we didn't witness that. We witnessed that. Let's not forget, this is a long ass career we're going to have to go through. And why? We have to take this all into context. All right. Great player, one of the 100 top NBA players of all time. But still, with this push, the elevation that the league is giving him, the brand is giving him, because let's face it, the NBA is just branding now. I don't know if you noticed, if you checked into that All-Star game, that piece of shit, that thing was all 100% branding. Like this, subscribe this, share this out right now, please. Let's get these numbers up so I can continue to trash NBA players, wrestlers, so on and so forth. It must be done. Nobody else is going to do it. And if you're doing it out here, I see you. Shout out to AOH, SCAP, Michael Jordan fans are the best. What's his name? Sports and Fitness. Blah, 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 blah. Man, blah, 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 blah. Man, that's a quote. I just quoted them. Shout out to all them guys. They get it. They're older heads too. And it's not our generation is better than your generation thing. As I got to keep reinforcing this because people are just going to say, you're hating. You're a hater. I don't hate LeBron James or anything. I hate the culture he's set up. I hate how he's torn down the game that I love. And now I haven't been fully into this NBA in years. And he's still here. I'm talking about it. I know too much about it. I know all these players in the league. I keep up to a certain extent, but I'm not sitting here watching the Celtics or anybody chuck up 60 plus 3-pointers every game. We're just going like that. That's just stupid, right? Now, this is one point where we can't blame LeBron James for this, but you kind of can, because in a way, the way the space and pace, right? The spreading of the floor and all this, nobody's in the middle of in the paint anymore. Nobody's holding it down in the paint. Remember, this is my house. Guess what? Nobody lives in that house anymore. That house is vacant. So LeBron James can just bull rush one guy over, get into the lane layups. And if you've noticed, looked at any shot chart of a LeBron James through his career, you would think that he's Shaquille O'Neal because he misses everything outside of 2 feet near the rim. William has to say something out here. Let's see what the chat has to say about some of these things. LeBron James is enormously talented, but he's not a good guy. Well, I don't know. I don't know that. I can only assume, right? I can only speculate that. Do I really care if he's a good guy or not? Not really, because that's, again, another one of the arguments against Michael Jeffrey Jordan over here is he's a good family man and this and that and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, do I know that? I know he likes Diddy. Okay. So think about it. And I'm not saying everybody that talked to Diddy or went to his parties should be implicated in some funny business. But, you know, the top stars, what we're starting to find out in the world of, you know, politics and everything else, that there's a lot of blackmailing going on. You know, there are things going on behind the scenes that we are not privy to, like the funny business with Jordan and his father and the gambling and this and that. Right. So, but that's not the debate here. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking ball. I'm talking, how come I'm living in a different reality than most of these people I see online? It's freaking me out. They're like gaslighting me, it feels like. Like, I'm not crazy. I saw what I saw. I actually watched these games. I watched his whole career pretty much. I would say from the game or the series against the Pistons, where he overcame the Pistons and went on to win his first championship, that's exactly where I picked it up. Right from there. So I got to see the whole thing in person, not highlights, you know, not the reading box scores and going, well, LeBron James got a triple-double last week, so that means he's still the GOAT and he's the best. And can you believe it? He's great. Who doesn't get triple-doubles these days? Everybody's triple-doubling out here. You're scoring over 200 points in the All-Star game. Nobody's trying. Okay? We get it. Nobody's trying. You're not trying in the All-Star game. You're not trying to try in the regular season. Sometimes you don't even try in the playoffs. These guys are getting paid such sick amount of money. I don't want to hurt myself. I want to stay active and making $100 million a year, tossing a ball up at a rim for the rest of my life, if I can. All right, William Rowe, let's play this game. He's naming some names. Jordan, Johnson, and Bird are all shaking their heads over today's NBA. And more than that. Let's name some other guys. Here's a list of people, and people are going to tell me I'm nuts for knowing this. I don't think this. I know this. And then I'll give you even more reasons why LeBron James is not even close to being the GOAT. You know what I would do? He probably would end up in the 40s or the late 30s on my all-time 100 list. And I think that's pretty reasonable. It really is. And outside the top 10, it's like unheard of because that's all anybody's ever posted or said for the past 20 years. And it's not true. It's just not true. How is he better than Jordan? That debate, we put that to bed years ago. Okay? So people still talk about it, but there is no debate there. There's no debate with Magic. There just isn't. No debate with Bird. Bird's better. Oh, he's white and he doesn't look like a basketball player and this and that. Go watch the highlights. Go look at the stats of the time. Put them in context of then when nobody shot 3-pointers, when it was a struggle, when it was an actual game and not, look at me, like, woo, we're going to shoot 3-pointers all night. And most of them miss. That's why I don't blame Curry. Curry's making his threes. He's got the green light. Okay, I get it. You give him the green light. You give Ray Allen the green light. You give Reggie Miller the green light. Shoot it whenever you feel comfortable shooting it. Okay, and if you make it, you're probably going to make it more than you're not, even from 3-point, which is crazy. So yes, I understand certain people shooting the 3-pointer. Everybody's shooting the 3-pointer out here. These days, it's chucking threes. That's what we used to call it back in my day. Oh my God, we would see a kid in the game or whatever and be like, this dude is just chucking threes over here. Just spraying and praying, hoping, hey, one of these is going to go in. Because, there are people out there, they think they're so confident that they're going to do everything and they get the job done, and then they just shit the bed. Yeah, well, there's a bunch of them in the NBA now. They all think they can shoot the 3, and you can't. And I mean, this is what's turned into the game. The Celtics now, just because they've did their math problems and their analytics, they're like, we're just going to shoot more threes than everybody else. And guess what? We got shooters, so therefore we win. The end. And they proved that last year. And all these people out here with their West Coast bias and things, they're going to be like, hey, you didn't beat anybody. Well, they're the champions. How come the other teams didn't make it? How come the Mavericks that made it from the West Coast still lost, if that's the case? So prove it. Because everybody out here in the national sports talk world are totally downplaying the Celtics. Like they ain't shit. Oh, look at them losing certain games in the NBA season, the regular season. Of course they are. Because the game stinks, right? Nobody's trying. As I said, you think the Celtics are going to come out and like play their asses off in the regular season when they're just waiting for the playoffs? They'll play hard in the playoffs. Will your team? We'll see. But sometimes, most likely not. Celtics get up 10, 15 points on you and everybody gives up. Because that's how everybody competes now. The Celebrity All-Star Game was more competitive than the All-Star Game. And then I'm watching First Take this morning, doing my due diligence, my research. And they're acting like, oh, well, it was a good thing. And, having these rising stars involved in these shortened games. And they were trying. I looked at some of the highlights. They weren't trying. Go watch an NBA All-Star game from the 90s or 80s. Go watch that. Tell me they're trying. Those guys were trying, right? If you're going to pay money for something, want guys, a whole league of load managers, constantly managing loads. Sounds kind of disgusting. Not me. I wouldn't want that. Okay? Whoa, take it easy, load managers. LeBron just disappears for 2 weeks this season, when he starts going into the shitter. Like the most turnovers in the league at the time. He's turned the ball over like 5 times a game, like totally killing the Lakers. And then he just disappears. Oh, and everybody's like, oh, it must be Diddy stuff. It must be Diddy stuff. No, he's going to get the nutrients pumped into him. You understand what I'm saying? He's trying to go get that Scott Steiner in him. He's fat. Yeah, he's trying to fatten up those muscles and those tendons and old ass ankles and them caveman feet that all NBA players have because they got them big ass feet and them all curled up, gnarly toes. So he probably went to get them all fixed. leave of absence, I think they called it. Could you imagine LeBron going into the lane against Bill Russell in his prime? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Couldn't even imagine. I haven't even got to see a whole lot of Bill Russell games, but I've seen enough. I've heard enough. So yes, Bill Russell's better than a lot of my guys from my generation. See, this is how it works, folks. If you're the best in a certain time period, that means you could be possibly not the best in the overall scheme of things. Now, basketball's been around for well over 100 years now. And we've gotten to the point where we're getting into wrestling, pro wrestling territory. And LeBron James is the guy that brought us here. Okay, let's not lose sight of this, folks. I don't want to get off into too many other subjects right now. We got to focus in on how LeBron James has just fooled multiple generations of people because he's been around so long. I seen a tweet the other day that said, when LeBron James retires, the NBA will be dead. And I'm thinking to myself, what?
I love you.
No, I didn't think I love you. What? Sasha Banks? Get out of my house, Sasha Banks.
Rest in peace.
The NBA isn't going to die anytime soon. They got deals going on, money, blah, blah, blah. I'm not even like shilling for them. I could care less if the product stays this way. But, they get, it's like the AEW type of thing. Oh man, the viewership is down and nobody cares really. But then they keep getting these money deals done. So money wise, anyway, it's afloat, not losing anything. Not like it would mean anything if Tony Khan lost AEW, he'd be fine. But the NBA, they'll be fine too. And the money is just, it's a real problem. You can't get professional athletes, not even athletes, competitors. They competed to get into these positions to begin with from childhood. But now, many of them, like a Luka Doncic, they'll get to a certain point. How is he not ripped? How do you not have like a dietitian on you? How are you, these super rich athletes are out here going to be driving their Lamborghinis around and stuff like that. You don't have drivers? Then they get caught DUI and all the rest. And it's like, but you have like a $500 million corporation that surrounds you. Like, come on. So I understand the load management and all this for the reason of getting money. But you got to understand, everybody, the fans that are watching the pro sports, mainly basketball, what I'm talking about right now, that's what this is about. They could give a fuck about competing. They could give a shit about the fans. They don't care. And they laugh at you. They think you're stupid for even watching this. I'm sure they do. Many of the wrestlers think like this. That's why they'll only interact with like children for the most part. Not saying they're all like this. I'm saying there is a good sized group in both that like totally disrespect the fans. Just go look at that NBA All-Star game. Even this past one. That ain't effort. All bricking all them threes, jogging back and forth. People used to have pride back in my day, right? People would actually have a little bit of pride. They would be like, Jordan would go up and see whoever on the other side. And he's like, I'm going to make you look stupid in front of everybody. I'm the shit. Not you, me. And then he'd go out and try to prove it. And most of the other guys had that mentality too. All right, they picked us for the All-Star game. Let's see who's the best. You think James Harden made your All-Star game? Like, this is how dumbed down the fan base has gotten now? You're just going to take names? Stop letting the fans run anything. First of all, NBA, put in the best players. Nobody wants to see James Harden out there. This league is ridiculous. They have to manufacture an All-Star game to get people to try to compete. And I knew this was going to happen. I mentioned it in one of the shows recently where I'm like, well, they put the rising stars in there because they're going to try. And if they beat one of these teams or both the main All-Star squads, it's going to look pretty bad. So that's going to force one of these all-star teams actually take it serious. So, yep, NBA is in the decline, Will. It will just continue after LeBron retires. Yeah. But it's not going to die because LeBron leaves. If anything, you have more hope now. Once LeBron leaves and we can just get that horse shit out of the way, then the league might be able to grow into something. You have two of the best players in the world right now that are international players. But because they're fat and boring, like nobody wants anything to do with them. I mean, Luka more than Joker, of course. I know who you guys know I'm talking about. I'm an expert. You're an expert. We're all doing this right now. But, you know, how is Joker not being pushed? He's been your best player for 6 years, and they just ignore him. So, okay. Not marketable. Get what I'm saying? It's about being marketable more than it is being a good basketball player. So, all right. Let's get into some more. I didn't even tell you who else is better than LeBron here. Kareem, Bill Russell, Wilt Chamberlain, Tim Duncan, Hakeem. You know what? The class that LeBron James should be in and around. Okay. Not even saying he's better or worse than necessarily any of these players, but this is career-wise, all in context, everything like I've been saying. Steroid use, load management, super teams, which we got to talk about. But Charles Barkley, Karl Malone, Isaiah Thomas, David Robinson, Kevin Garnett, Joker, Durant, even Curry, if you want to talk about some modern day players. Is he really better than any of them? Was he really better than Dwayne Wade? Because I watched Dwayne Wade win him a championship in Miami, along with Chris Bosh. They were no slouches because LeBron would disappear. Especially when Dirk Nowitzki, right? Great player, one great player compared to the Miami Heat, who has that three. And then don't forget, I don't know if Ray Allen was there yet, but they had shooters everywhere. Mike Miller, who else was there? Rashad Lewis, shooters galore because, again, they open up the floor. They're going to have 3-point shooters all around LeBron, and the LeBron James can offensive foul his way into the lane and kick it out with that high basketball IQ. How could anybody ever figure out when you drive the lane and you might not make the shot and you make a split-second pass to the 3-point line? Wow, that's crazy. Nobody's ever thought of that before. High IQ, right? Just keep saying it for 20 years and everybody will believe it. Man, he just passes the ball. Wow. Bird pass better. Magic pass better. I mean, come on. So many more. This is ridiculous. You're putting him in a class he does not deserve to be in. And I get it. It's brainwashing. It's LeBrainwashing from the media. When somebody repeats it, when the TV screen is going to repeat this your whole life, you are going to believe it. And you're going to look at me. I'm the crazy guy, right? Because LeBron James isn't in my top 10. He must be top 3, at least. Michael, Kobe, and LeBron, right? No, Kobe's a little overhyped as well, Rest in peace and Hagrum and all that. Shout out to you, Kobe. You're way better than LeBron James. I know this, and I'm a Celtics fan. I seen you beat the Celtics. A stacked Celtics team with Paul Gasol and what? Andrew Bynum was pretty good right at that point. And Ron Artest was there. But that wasn't like a super team. You know what I mean? That wasn't Dwayne Wade, Chris. 3 of the top 10 players in the league on the same team? Absurd. It was just absurd. It was ridiculous. So super team, he started the super team era. And then there will be some LeBron people that are like, it's the Celtics. The Celtics were a super team. What, 3 old guys that said we would like to try to win before, we retire, which they did. I mean, they won the championship in 2008, got close in Game 7 in 2009 and lost to Kobe's Lakers. And then in 2010, they got awfully close. And that was it. So they had like 2 good years of really getting after it. And by then, the 3rd year, the wheels have fallen off. I think Ray Allen might have left. Did he leave that time? No. but definitely after that, he was gone. And he helped LeBron James win a championship. Oh my God, where's that picture? I think I have it here still. Let's hope. We'll see. Where is it? Let's show it. It's not here. I must have taken it down somewhere. Elon Musk almost blocked that shot. He almost got to Ray Allen at the 3-point line. Yep. Kyrie Irving saved him. That 3-pointer against Golden State. Also, don't forget Draymond Green slapped at his nuts, at LeBron James' nuts when he went to step over him for some reason. So Draymond didn't like that. Another goon, another LeBallwasher as well. So you can't trust him either. You know, he's going to tell you LeBron is the GOAT and all this because he plays against him, right? Completely biased about everything. Like, just like the rest of these people, all biased. The media just tells them what they want to hear. And you know what? Lately, they're starting to change their tune. I don't know if this is because this is Trump's America or something now. But people are starting to wake up all of a sudden. The national media, like Shannon Sharp the other night, you know, famous LeBallwasher. One of the most, probably the number one LeBallwasher of all time. Up there with Nick Wright as well. Who sucks. Totally sucks. Totally, he's just ridiculous too. His Pat Mahomes takes, Pat Mahomes the best because he's a Chiefs fan. Biased. So, Shannon Sharp says today after the All-Star game, or maybe it was yesterday. I don't know. I don't watch really any of these shows anymore. And since LeBron didn't play in one of the games or all the games, I don't even know. He went to All-Star weekend, though, and he walked out there like an All-Star in his street clothes. It was all so cringe because it's just all about him. And Shannon Sharp said that was selfish. He took a spot from somebody else that could have played. Of course, he would have been invited to go anyway and have all this stuff, but he needed to walk out and be Mr. Cool. Look at me. And the Bronny situation, again, another thing we could just go into, but let's just gloss over it. There's too much evidence of him being a douche and ruining the league. The nepotism with this Bronny James, getting him into the league when he averaged like 2 points or 4 points on a bad USC team. It's just, all this is so crazy. How he's the GM of all these franchises. He shot his way out of Cleveland like a few times. He's out there telling people who to draft, who to trade for. He set up multiple super teams, people. Think about this. It was LeBron James, right? When it was just him on a bad team. This is around the time where I was rooting for him. Because this is just like Jordan. Jordan was on a bad team for several years. And it was just him carrying that shit. And LeBron was carrying it as best he could. Was it at Michael Jordan level? No. Got close. He did beat that Pistons team and got away, you know. But again, you got to realize that he was getting that NBA push as well. So, okay. He did some big things, even on a bad team. But that bad team did have some players on it. It's just not like there was nobodies on there. But all right. Then we get into the era of, again, the Miami Heat stuff was just crazy at the time. And then Carmelo Anthony comes out and says he wanted to join him too. That was the plan. Try to get him there and maybe even try to get Chris Paul there. Could you imagine that? How nobody, like, that's disgusting that they even thought to do any of that. So LeBron James goes back to Cleveland with Kevin Love, who at the time, ridiculous rebounder, insane player in the league, could hit threes, rebound his ass off, play good defense. Like, he was pretty legit. So that was a super team with him, Kyrie, and LeBron James. They end up winning that one championship. against that choking ass Warriors team. Crazy how they lost that series, right? Seemed a little fishy to me. And later in the later games, Steph Curry couldn't shoot worth a damn. He couldn't hit a three to save his life. The best shooter in the world. Just all of a sudden, couldn't shoot a three. I found that a little suspect, that's all. It's a little weird. Draymond gets suspended for the last game. You know, that Celtics 2009 finals against the Lakers. You know, Kendrick Perkins just can't play game 7. Okay. So now we got to go up against Pau Gasol and Andrew Bynum. And you know what they did? They played volleyball all night up against the backboard and still only beat the Celtics maybe by a couple points. But, I mean, they got every single rebound. There was nobody there to rebound. So a lot of fishy stuff with this NBA. Of course, Tim Donaghy. It was all him, everybody, by the way. Nobody else. So I will call out everybody and everything about the NBA. It's not just LeBron. But specifically speaking, tonight, I mean, 2006, 7, 8, I would say closer to 7. That was the beginning of the end for me liking LeBron James. I could see how he was kind of bitch made. I could see how somebody would think that. And then he just proved it over and over. The phantom elbow against the Celtics. Like I said, I'm just injured. I quit. And I've seen him quit other times in other games. Doesn't run back on defense. I mean, go look at him now. If you watch a Lakers game right now, it is straight up comedy. It is hilarious. Watch this with all this in mind, that he's going to offensive foul. He's going to get away with everything. He's going to complain. Top complainer ever in the league. Nobody throws more hissy fits than him. Dude points at people and brings the ref over and gets people kicked out. Who does that? Okay. These are paying people too. Imagine I'm supposed to be the greatest at what I do. Thousands of people watching me live, millions watching me worldwide, and I'm going to go out there and I'm going to kick somebody out because I don't like what they said in a competitive athletic sports game, right? Again, maybe I'm just old. I come from an era where people screams all kinds of shit from the crowd, even if you're in high school. And you're supposed to block it out. You're busy trying to win. You don't got time to think about, oh, somebody called me a bitch. Oh, Russell Westbrook acts like he gets shot when somebody throws popcorn at him, wants to rush the stands. You know, what is going on? Remember this whole push that was for the past like several years about the NBA and how you need to respect them, right? Go respect these players, and you sit there and you like it. There's a lot of crossover with this pro wrestling and NBA lately, especially the way they demean the fans, talk about them, and act like they can't, like they have no freedoms to do whatever. You have the freedom to boo and this and that, but you can't do this. Oh, is that right? So you're going to tell me how I feel about my sports ball, right? As stupid as it is, passion is the reason why you're getting paid over $100 million a year. So shut the fuck up and try to put the ball in the hole. All right. Preferably closer to the basket with more skill, you know, instead of just chucking threes. Anybody can chuck threes. Now think about this. The future really is going to be a bunch of kids practicing 3-pointers and half-court shots for life. And you're already seeing it come to fruition. You see how people handle the ball out here? And they would laugh at Bob Cousy. Why? Because he didn't carry like everybody out here. This is how they dribble now. Up to their neck, walking up the court, because they know nobody's going to defend them. So they're just like this. This deal, they bring it up so stupidly high, like these guys, they don't have any fundamentals. It's unreal when you think about it. How is that the case? Maybe because they're practicing shooting threes only. Certainly ain't free throws either. LeBron James One of the funniest memes in the world is you can just tell by the body. It's Shaq at the free throw line and the way he's holding the ball all funny with LeBron James' face, superimposed onto it. Yep. Don't care about the soft NBA anymore. Philly Sports Pride doesn't. William, the NBA gets none of my money or time anymore. So how are we going to win people back, right, NBA? Are you worried about that, Adam Silver? Or are you just like trying to get these deals, these international deals and stuff done so you can just I don't know how this business works, how they can make money when fans are legit upset about the product that they're given. And many people have like I said, I shut this off many years ago. I would say around 20, I think after that Warriors Cleveland series there in 2016 where there was so much funny business and nobody said a word about it. I'm like, fuck this. This is stupid. Like, why am I watching this? They just totally gave him that championship. They came back I think they were down 3-1 and they came back. Same thing with the Thunder. They lose 3-1, right? To the Warriors, that 72-win team, 3-win team, whatever, that then chokes against Cleveland. And then Kevin Durant joins them the next year. I didn't watch any of that. Barely. I might have watched a minute or two of a game of Kevin Durant Warriors winning a championship. Because who didn't know they were going to win the championship that year? Of course they were. Stupid. But then the shit just fell off a cliff. That 2020, the Coof Disney League thing that they had going on, where half the players didn't even show up, and Anthony Davis led the Lakers to a championship. It wasn't LeBron. I mean, come on. That was Anthony Davis, was the top guy. And then it's been like almost, not like rigged necessarily, but I will tell you there is rigging going on. Here's an example. The Denver Nuggets, when they faced off against the Heat a few years back, the Nuggets won that series. But in the final game, they wanted to extend the series for a few more games, more money. And was it Jimmy Butler taking a three in the corner? I remember something like this. Nobody touched him, and they called it a foul so he can get 3 more shots. They go and they show the replay to Dr. Huge in the world, and nobody touched him. And I'm like, okay. So they're going to call it because it was an instant replay review that they were going to do. And they said, no, that was a foul. I went, all right, this is bullshit. The easiest game to rig is basketball. So easy to rig it. Just Tim Donaghy, though. He was the only one, right? So anyway, back to LeBron. Let's actually get into some of my notes. I've been kind of glossing over everything because I get overwhelmed when I look at the amount of information I have about this LBJ. So Steph didn't ruin the NBA. It was LeBron James, all right. Talked about him getting bailed out by all of his teammates. Great teammates. The best teammates probably. Like I said, these are a lot of super teams. So even as backup players, as role players, like I'm in Shumpert, J.R. Smith, that Lakers team from a year ago that was not really that great. It's primarily because LeBron James is on your team and he's sucking the life out of it. They did have good players. The Bronny stuff, we went over that. And just how all this affects the culture of everything. Because now if LeBron James is your top guy, the face of this huge league, the thing that a lot of kids are invested in, and adults, and this is what we're given, a flopper, a guy that flops his ass off. Every team he's been on, seen, because there's compilations of it. He's one of the worst at it too. And the refs still go for it. They're like, okay, you got fouled. It's ruined a generation of sports and maybe even people, if you want to get that deep into it. Just the kids, all they want to do is shoot threes. And sure, is that a main LeBron James problem? Yeah, I think we've covered a little bit of it. In the narcissistic nature of the game, of course, it was always trash talking and this and that, but like, it's just, this kind of goes for all sports too. These players, these high-paid athletes are not trying to really entertain you. That's their prime objective. Yet their prime objective is to create a brand and a business around themselves. I've heard people that have gone to NBA games recently, and they're like, it doesn't even feel like NBA anymore, or like you're going to a game. It just feels like so much branding on it. And then just go look at some of the All-Star game stuff. They had Mr. Beast there. Kevin Hart through the whole thing, and it's like a little circus they had going on. It stinks. It's the shits.
It's the shits.
And who brought you a lot of this? LeBron James. He was the one that started doing the All-Star games. Remember, he was the captain of these teams. I didn't watch any of those games. I'm not watching. You're going to make captains? And then LeBron's going to be a captain every year, even when he's not like one of the best players on the team? That doesn't make any sense, man. Come on. So all these things upset me and a lot more. Look, I even have more to say on this. So Earth has been nerfed, essentially. Basketball is just a symptom of the main problem. And don't believe the hype, everybody. This LeBron fella is not as good as you try to make him out to be. As I pointed out already, too, he's detrimental to the team. He hurts a team that he's on. He's awful to be playing with. I can just assume by watching. Would you really want to be Anthony Davis? Does anybody ever really give him credit? Did you know LeBron James was ranked higher by ESPN than Anthony Davis coming into this season? That's not true. It's just not true. Hasn't been that way for a while. It's just crazy town. We're not living in the same reality as everybody else. This is clearly the GOAT. 6-0 in the finals. Yada, yada, yada. No game sevens, all that stuff. Just winner extraordinaire. And then you just want to keep comparing LeBron James to him. I see that we're starting to slow down with that. And we've gone into the LeBron and Kobe debate, right? No. Move on from that. Now we're talking, what? Magic and Bird, even though I believe Magic and Bird are better than Kobe. You know, when you really take this in context, Kobe Bryant, 3-peats, right? With Shaq, a great team, all this stuff. But don't forget, Tim Donaghy was reffing some of them games, especially in the Western Conference Finals, with a team that was better than them, the Sacramento Kings. Vlade Divac, Chris Webber, Mike Bibby. They were better. They should have won, if not for all them phantom calls. So, would they have really 3-peated? No. They shouldn't have 3-peated. Yep. Kobe's still great. Not saying he wasn't. In my top 10. Should be in everybody's top 10. But the first half of Kobe's career compared to the second half, his second half was so much better than the first half, in my opinion. All them games before when he was just ball hogging and air balls left and right, thinking he was better than he was at the time. Awfully good, all-time great. Still, not good enough to be taking 30 attempts or 35 attempts when you've been airballing all night, you know. But he got it after a while, and he won a couple more. And he did it the hard way. No super team needed, you know. He did, and he's pretty much the reason the super teams began, because Carmelo and LeBron and Chris Paul and Bosh, apparently everybody got together and they're like, we got to stop Kobe. How the hell are we going to beat Kobe? Nobody can beat him. So Kobe clearly better than all of them. Yep. It's a shame. These kids still tell me LeBron, he meant triple doubles. This is what we're going with? All right. But to close out this case, do you really believe one of his main achievements, right, is the longevity? We're going to believe that this is all clean, right? These taking 2-week breaks when he was with Cleveland and with the Lakers this season. He's not going away getting things done to himself to enhance, his physical attributes, if you will. I don't know. I think that would be silly to think that. It'd be silly also to think like Peyton Manning wasn't taking steroids when his neck was falling off and threw for 53 touchdowns in a season. And then all of a sudden, the next season, after a scandal or whatever happens, he's throwing for 13 touchdowns. It's weird how that happens, right? Maybe it just totally fell off at that point, right? Right, NFL? It was his wife's steroids. Right? Right, Seth? It was my wife's steroids. So, yeah, LeBron James totally clean, totally on the up and up. Definitely isn't taking some weird substances when he's on the bench in front of the whole arena and nobody even talks about it. That's also a little strange, wouldn't you think? You think? I would think that would be weird, but no. He goes in, he scores, gets a triple-double, and nobody blinks an eye at it. Got it. And he's doing this mainly in garbage time. Go watch some of these games. I'm checking some of them out. The Lakers will be getting beat by 20 points. He'll still be in the game. Getting layups, getting rebounds where he doesn't have to jump. Nobody's even around him. Go look at the way they rebound today. A guy takes a half-court shot, and then the other team, they'll have one guy that's just standing there. No need to block out or anything. The ball literally, no need to jump. Just falls right into your hands. So he walks up and down the court, this LeBron James, not really doing much. And then the occasional sprint, that fucking Heisman deal that he does on the way to the basket. Whew. Everybody share the show. I guess we're not going to get into wrestling tonight, but we can always save it tomorrow or the next day. I hope I got my point across. I think I made some decent points. Okay. I know, like I said, I don't want to deal with the stats. The stats are so inflated now that, okay, because Kyrie Irving is at the end of the day going to have better stats than Magic Johnson. So he's better than Magic Johnson. Or any of these greats. Go look at the old stats versus the new ones. And just consider that there was defense played heavily in the 80s, 90s, 2000s even. I would say up until about 2005, 2006, they outlawed hand checking. And then Steve Nash became the MVP back-to-back, because the game changed. It became more like soccer. And, yeah. And then from there, it just slowly got worse. And who was there the whole time? The kid's GOAT. The chosen one. LeBron James. So, with that, we can always talk about this more in the future. Go at more angles on this if anybody's interested. But until then, again, share this video. Go over to YouTube. Like, share, subscribe. I need that watch time, everybody. YouTube is the place to be at. Go in the comments section. Tell me your thoughts. Do you disagree? Is LeBron James just better than everybody? Your top three? Because I'm telling you, he's fallen down. He was number one for all people, like a lot of people out here for a while. And that was crazy land. But then it was like, all right, we concede to Jordan. All right, we concede to Kobe. But he's still 3 now, right? Better than Wilt and Bill and everybody. No, the thing is, I'll leave you with this. No load management back in the day. No businesses, no branding. They competed as hard as possible. They tried to win, whether they were making 100,000, 200,000, million, whatever. So everybody's got paid too much. Everybody wants to make money outside the game instead of working on their craft. And what has happened is now the fundamentals and the actual style of playing basketball correctly and making it look good has fallen off a cliff. That's why nobody's interested. There is no real characters of the game anymore, as far as like back in the day. Think about it. You had John Stocktons of the world that were speedy, could move the ball. It was a style of play. You had Barkley, who was more the chunky, rebounding, that type of guy. You had all different the shooting centers, the finesse centers, like a Patrick Ewing or whatever. Not like he was a completely finesse or whatever. Hakeem Olajuwon with how about all the centers in general? The centers they're done. Nobody cares about them anymore. They wipe them right out of the game. The power forwards are now stretch forwards. They're all stretch forwards. Back in my day, if you were stretch forward, that meant, it necessarily wasn't a great thing for your team. It meant you were probably going to be on a team that lost. You needed them Horace Grant type bully guys that would get the boards and could hit the mid-range and all that. There's no more mid-range. There's no more, it's pick and roll, teardrops, and three-pointers. That's it. You want to watch that all night, and then the other team goes down the other side of the court and does the same thing, and back and forth, just that all night long. And I'm supposed to believe that they're superior athletes, and this is a superior product, and everybody's just better now than they ever were. Horseshit. Fucking get out of here with that. That's obnoxious. It's not right. Go look at some history. Learn something. All right? All right, everybody, don't forget, like, share, subscribe again. Hit them buttons, and I'll talk with you.